Welcome to the Rulebook Tavern Chronicles, where we are talking about role-playing games. Today we will be looking at the rogue class in Pathfinder 2e,
Right.
and we are using the core rulebook as our guide for this deep dive.
You know, when you think about a rogue,
Yeah.
it's not just, just a sneaky character with like a knack for picking pockets or something like that.
Yeah.
They're really masters of adaptability. They're able to thrive in all these situations that demand cunning and skill and a little bit of daring.
So for less about the brute force and more about that strategic finesse.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're the ones who exploit every angle and turn any situation to their advantage.
Yeah, they're experts at finding those cracks in the defenses, both figuratively and literally, like the trip weapon trait.
Okay.
That lets them use their agility to, bring even the toughest foes crashing down whether or not their hands are even full.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine like a nimble rogue dancing around a hulking ogre and using its own weight against it. It's kind of like a classic David and Goliath scenario where brains are going to triumph over brawn.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, for someone who loves a good sneak attack,
Yeah.
I have to ask, what are the trade-offs? What should players consider before they embrace the shadows?
Well, one of the big things is their reliance on lighter armor.
Okay.
It does grant them a significant edge in those dexterity-based skills,
Right.
like your stealth and acrobatics, making them super elusive.
Makes sense.
But they have lower hit points, meaning that they need to be more strategic in combat and avoiding direct confrontation whenever they can.
So they're more of a scalpel than a sledgehammer.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precise and deadly, but it requires a certain degree of finesse.
Okay, so picking the right ancestry is going to be crucial then,
Oh, absolutely.
to maximize those inherent strengths.
Yeah.
Now, let's assume, for the sake of this deep dive, that Dragon Blood is off the table.
Okay.
What ancestries would you recommend for a rogue who wants to, truly shine?
If you're going for classic choices, those are always a solid option.
Okay.
Their natural agility and low light vision just make them perfectly suited for that stealthy, nimble rogue build.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the Elven Grace feat actually allows them to swap out a skill proficiency for another one.
Oh, wow.
So it adds another layer of customization.
So elves are graceful and cunning.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But what about a less obvious choice, something that might surprise people?
Believe it or not, goblins
Really?
can make surprisingly effective rogues.
Okay.
Their small size and their natural sneakiness give them a bonus to stealth checks, and their nimble escape feat allows them to just slip out of grapples with ease.
So that's good.
So they may not be as physically imposing as some other ancestries, but that ability to just disappear into the shadows and strike from unexpected angles makes them a formidable force to be reckoned with.
I never would have thought of Goblin Rogue before. But it makes perfect sense. Their mischievous nature actually fits the archetype perfectly.
All right.
Okay, so we've chosen our ancestry.
Okay.
We've embraced the shadows. But every good rogue has a past, a story that shapes their path.
Right.
What backgrounds from the core rulebook would you say best complement this class?
The criminal background
Okay.
is a classic for a reason. It gives you proficiency in thievery,
Right.
which is essential for picking locks, disabling traps, and doing all those classic rogue maneuvers.
Yeah.
So you can imagine your rogue effortlessly disarming a deadly trap while their companions just marvel at their skill.
It's what makes the class so fun to play.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if somebody wanted to break away from that stereotypical thief image?
Okay.
Are there alternative backgrounds that might surprise us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Consider the performer background.
Okay.
It might seem unconventional at first, but think about it. A talented bard, weaving through a crowd and captivating everyone with their performance while they're subtly gathering information or slipping a valuable trinket into their pocket.
Wow.
Yeah, so deception and performance just become their tools of the trade,
I love that.
allowing them to blend seamlessly into any social setting.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
They become the ultimate distraction. They're using their charm and their wit to just mask their true intentions.
Yeah.
Speaking of unexpected abilities, rogues get access to skulls, right?
They do.
I always found that really intriguing. What role does magic play in their repertoire?
Well, spellcasting isn't their primary focus.
Okay.
It does add a fascinating layer of versatility to their toolkit. Keep in mind, though, they're not, launching fireballs or summoning creatures.
Right.
Their spells tend to be much more subtle,
Okay.
focused on enhancing their existing abilities.
Gotcha.
So it's about choosing spells that really complement their cunning and their trickery.
So less about the flashy displays of magic and more about strategic utility.
Exactly.
Are there any specific spells from the core rulebook that you think exemplify this approach?
Disguise is a fantastic example.
Okay.
You can imagine infiltrating a heavily guarded fortress and blending seamlessly into the crowd thanks to a well-timed illusion.
Yeah.
It plays perfectly into a rogue's strength, allowing them to bypass obstacles that might stop other classes in their track.
Right. Okay, so disguise is all about subterfuge and infiltration.
Yeah.
What about in combat situations? Are there spells that can turn the tide in a rogue's favor?
Mirror image is a classic choice for a rogue who wants to survive a tough encounter.
Okay.
So picture this. You're surrounded by enemies, you're
Yeah.
about to be overwhelmed,
Right.
and suddenly multiple copies of yourself appear, confusing your attackers,
Yeah.
making you a much harder target to hit.
Right.
It creates that sense of chaos and uncertainty, buys you precious time to reposition, escape, or just strike back with a well-placed sneak attack.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It turns a desperate situation into a tactical advantage.
Right.
All right, so we've covered ancestry, background, and even touched on the surprising world of rogue spellcasting.
Yeah.
Now let's talk strategy.
Okay.
How do you make a rogue truly shine in a Pathfinder 2e game?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody who is playing this class for the first time?
Stealth and mobility are a rogue's bread and butter.
Okay.
So they need to master the art of moving unseen, using the environment to their advantage. And the core rulebook emphasizes the importance of flanking,
Right.
where you and an ally coordinate your attacks.
Okay.
You gain an edge against your opponents that way.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Using tactical positioning and cunning to just outmaneuver their opponents.
Right.
But rogues aren't just, dungeon delvers and shadow stalkers, are they? They have such a diverse skill set that goes way beyond combat.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Encourage players to think creatively about their skills outside of combat.
Yeah.
Thievery isn't just for picking pockets.
Right.
It can be used to disable traps, open locks, or even plant evidence.
Oh, yeah.
Perception is crucial for noticing hidden details and avoiding ambushes.
Makes sense.
And don't underestimate the power of social skills like deception and diplomacy.
Oh, yeah.
A silver tongue can be just as effective as a sharp dagger.
So true.
Yeah.
They become the ultimate problem solvers.
Yes.
Adaptable to any situation.
Yeah.
I love how versatile this class is.
It's great.
Now, before we move on, I want to touch on a specific combat mechanic that I know trips up new rogue players.
Oh, okay.
The multiple attack penalty.
Right.
Can you shed some light on that?
Sure. The multiple attack penalty basically means that for each attack you make after your first one in a turn, there's a cumulative penalty applied.
Okay.
However, rogues do have ways to mitigate that penalty and maintain their offensive momentum.
So how can a rogue overcome this and just keep those attacks coming?
Yeah.
What secrets does the core rulebook hold?
That's where the agile weapon trait comes into play. Weapons with this trait are designed for swift, precise strikes, allowing a rogue to make multiple attacks without suffering the full brunt of the penalty.
Okay.
So they're kind of like an extension of the rogue's natural agility, blurring the lines between offense and defense.
Yeah, I like that.
And don't forget about the trip weapon trait we talked about earlier.
Right.
A well-timed trip attack can disrupt an enemy's balance
Yeah.
and make them vulnerable to follow-up strikes.
So there's a lot of depth to the combat, even for a class that's not known for wearing heavy armor and swinging massive weapons.
Exactly. It's about understanding those subtleties, mastering the nuances of the rules, and using them to your advantage.
It's all about the finesse.
Yes, it is. It's really a delicate balance of timing, precision, and knowing when to strike.
And speaking of striking, let's talk about those critical hits, because for a rogue,
Yes.
it's not just about hitting the target. It's about maximizing that sneak attack damage.
Absolutely.
Right. It's those critical hits that really make a rogue shine in combat.
Right.
It's not just about dealing the damage. It's about delivering those devastating blows that can turn the tide of battle.
Right.
So how do we make sure those dice rolls are in our favor? Is it all about luck? Or are there ways to increase our chances?
Well, luck certainly plays a role, but rogues aren't ones to leave everything to chance.
Right.
Flanking, as we mentioned before, is a crucial tactic.
Right.
Having an ally positioned on the opposite side of an enemy,
Yeah.
it creates that opening a moment of vulnerability that you can exploit. It grants both of you a bonus to your attack rolls,
Okay.
increasing those odds of landing that critical hit.
So flanking is like setting the stage for a perfect sneak attack.
Yeah.
It's about creating the ideal circumstances for those dice to roll in your favor.
Exactly.
Are there other ways to, like, stack the deck, so to speak?
Absolutely. The core rulebook highlights the importance of debilitating conditions.
Okay.
So think about it.
Yeah?
A clumsy opponent struggling to maintain their balance becomes a much easier target.
Yeah.
So inflicting conditions like clumsy or flat-footed can significantly increase your chances of landing those critical hits and unleashing the full potential of your sneak attack.
So it's not just about raw damage, it's about strategy.
Right?
About setting yourself up for success by weakening your opponents.
Yeah.
And creating those opportunities for those critical strikes.
Precisely.
Now let's talk about a rogue's choice of weaponry.
Okay.
Daggers and rapiers seem like the obvious choices.
Sure.
But are there any hidden gems in the core rulebook that might surprise us?
The start knife
Okay.
is a weapon that often gets overlooked, but it's a perfect example of a rogue's versatility.
Okay.
This unique weapon features 4 blades extending from a central ring.
Wow.
It can be used in close combat, slashing, stabbing with deadly efficiency, but it can also be thrown, giving you a ranged option as well.
Oh, wow.
So imagine a rogue weaving through combat, switching seamlessly between melee and ranged attacks, always keeping their opponents off balance.
That's a fantastic visual. It's like a weaponized fidget spinner.
Right.
But with deadly consequences.
Exactly.
Speaking of tools of the trade,
Okay.
what equipment, aside from weapons, should a rogue never leave home without?
The Adventurer's Pack is essential for any adventurer.
Yeah.
But for a rogue, the Thieves' Tools is their best friend.
Okay.
It's a treasure trove of lockpicks, crowbars, a small mirror for peeking around corners, all sorts of other gadgets designed for bypassing obstacles and getting into places where they shouldn't be.
Right.
The core rulebook goes into detail about all the nifty tools that it contains, making it clear that it's an indispensable part of a rogue's arsenal.
It's like Batman's utility belt.
Yeah.
But specifically designed for mischief and mayhem.
Exactly.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground. Ancestry, background, spells, combat tactics.
Right.
Even the importance of having the right tools for the job.
Yeah.
If you had to distill it all down to one piece of advice for someone playing a rogue for the first time, what would it be?
Embrace creativity. Don't get so caught up in the rules that you forget to think outside the box. Yes, the mechanics are important, but a rogue's true strength lies in their ability to find those unconventional solutions, to use their skills in surprising ways, and to always be on the lookout for those moments where they can exploit an enemy's weakness.
It's about thinking like a rogue.
Exactly.
Always looking for that angle, that opportunity to turn any situation to their advantage.
Right.
Now, there's one aspect of rogues that I've always found fascinating.
Okay.
And that's their moral ambiguity.
Right.
They're often associated with thieves and scoundrels.
Sure.
But they can also be heroes.
What?
Right?
Absolutely.
They exist in that gray area.
Yeah.
Where the lines between good and evil can be blurred.
Precisely.
Yeah.
A rogue's alignment is entirely up to the player. They can be cunning villains, noble champions, or anything in between.
Right.
The beauty of this class is that it allows for such a wide range of interpretations.
I love that.
They might steal from the rich to help the poor.
Yeah.
Or they might use their skills to manipulate a corrupt official and expose their crimes.
Right.
It all depends on their motivations and their personal code of ethics.
So playing a rogue is about more than just rolling dice and fighting monsters.
Right.
It's about exploring the complexities of morality.
Yeah.
About making choices that have consequences.
Absolutely.
And about defining your own version of what it means to be a rogue.
Yeah.
It's about embracing that sense of agency and crafting a character that reflects your own vision.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now let's delve into a fascinating aspect of the rogue class that I think often gets overlooked.
Okay.
Rogue rackets.
Yes.
These are specialized areas of expertise that are outlined in the core rulebook that allow a rogue to further refine their skill set, adding another layer of depth to their character.
Exactly.
Rogue rackets. That sounds intriguing.
It is.
Can you give us some examples of how these specializations work?
Certainly. The scoundrel racket is a perfect example.
Okay.
Rogues who specialize in this area become masters of social manipulation.
Right.
They use their charm, their wit, their silver tongue to deceive, persuade, and gain an advantage in social situations.
Right.
They're experts at disguise, bluff, and fast-talking their way out of trouble.
Oh, I like that.
Words become their weapons, and their wit is as sharp as any dagger.
It sounds like the perfect specialization for a rogue who prefers to fight their battles with words rather than weapons.
Yeah.
It's about outsmarting your opponents.
Right.
Playing the social game with finesse and cunning.
Exactly.
What other options are there for those who might prefer a more shadowy path?
For those drawn to the darkness, there's the assassin racket.
Okay.
Rogues who choose this specialization become instruments of death.
Right.
Honing their skills in stealth, poison, and delivering swift, lethal strikes.
Wow.
They are the shadows that move unseen, the whispers of death that strike fear into the hearts of their enemies.
That's a chilling image.
Yeah.
But it definitely fits that classic archetype of the rogue lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that rogues can be dangerous adversaries.
They can.
Capable of inflicting both physical and psychological damage.
Absolutely.
So these rogue rackets essentially allow players to customize their characters even further, creating unique archetypes within the broader rogue class.
Yeah.
It's about taking those core abilities and shaping them into something truly special.
Yeah.
Something that reflects your own vision for the character.
Exactly.
But speaking of customization, we can't forget about feats.
Right.
Those are essential for any character in Pathfinder 2e.
They are.
Right.
Absolutely.
Feats are where a rogue can truly shine.
Yeah.
Taking their abilities to the next level.
Right.
The core rulebook offers a wide array of feats.
It does.
Specifically designed to enhance a rogue's cunning and combat prowess.
Exactly.
So let's talk about some of those feats. What are some must-haves for any aspiring Master of Shadows?
Well, Sneak Attacker is a feat that any rogue should consider.
Okay.
It allows you to deal even more precision damage with your sneak attacks, making you a true force to be reckoned with in combat.
More damage is always welcome, especially when you're relying on those precise strikes.
Right.
Are there any other feats that can boost our sneak attack potential and create some truly memorable combat moments?
Double Slice is a feat that lets you unleash a flurry of attacks.
Okay.
When you score a critical hit with a sneak attack,
you
strike with deadly precision, and suddenly you're following up with a second attack, overwhelming your opponent before they can even react.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of a rogue's ability to capitalize on those fleeting moments of vulnerability, turning a single strike into a whirlwind of blades.
It's a beautiful image, a display of skill and precision. That can turn the tide of battle in an instant.
Right.
So feats are essential for maximizing a rogue's damage output and unlocking new combat strategies.
Yeah.
It's about taking those core abilities and pushing them to their limits, creating a character that truly excels in the art of combat.
Exactly. But let's not forget that feats aren't just about combat.
Right.
They can also enhance a rogue's non-combat skills, making them even more versatile and adaptable.
So let's dive into those non-combat feats.
Okay.
What are some options that can really enhance a rogue's versatility and make them an invaluable asset to any party?
Okay.
What hidden gems should we be on the lookout for?
Well, Underhanded is a fantastic option for those who, appreciate a bit of subterfuge.
Okay.
It allows you to conceal a small weapon, like a dagger or a dart in your hand, giving you that element of surprise.
So you could be in the middle of a tense negotiation?
Right.
And bam, a hidden dagger changes the whole game.
Exactly.
I could see that being incredibly useful for a rogue who prefers to keep their options open.
Right.
What about feats that play into a rogue's knack for infiltration and agility?
For the rogue who wants to be as nimble as a shadow, there's Wall Jump.
Okay.
It lets you scale vertical surfaces with ease, turning the environment into your playground.
So many tactical possibilities both in and out of combat.
Right.
A rogue with Wall Jump is practically Spider-Man,
right,
effortlessly navigating rooftops and scaling walls. It's amazing how feats can transform a character's abilities and open up new avenues for creative gameplay.
Yeah.
And really emphasizes that a rogue is only limited by their imagination.
Exactly. And don't forget, rogues can also benefit from general feats.
Right.
Expanding their options even further.
So they could learn a new language, master the art of disguise, or even delve into the world of magical item crafting.
Exactly.
The possibilities are endless, allowing players to create a truly unique and compelling character.
It's all about finding those synergies between your character's background, their chosen feats, and their personal playstyle.
Yeah.
It's what makes playing a rogue so rewarding.
Right.
The ability to craft a character that truly reflects your vision.
It's like weaving a tapestry of skills and abilities, creating a character that is both multifaceted and memorable.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into the world of rogues,
okay,
I want to touch on their role in a party dynamic.
Sure.
They might not be The heavily armored tank or the divine healer.
Right.
But they bring a unique set of skills to the table.
Absolutely.
Right.
Rogues are invaluable members of any adventuring party.
Okay.
Their expertise in scouting trap, disarming lockpicking, and information gathering makes them the eyes and ears of the group.
Yeah.
Always one step ahead.
They're the ones who see the hidden pathways, notice those subtle clues,
Right.
and anticipate danger before it strikes. They add a layer of strategic depth that other classes might not possess. But their contributions go beyond just scouting and information gathering, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
They can also hold their own in combat.
Of course, those sneak attacks can deal significant damage,
Right.
especially when combined with flanking maneuvers and the clever use of debilitating conditions.
Okay.
And let's not forget their ability to disrupt enemy formations with trickery and deception, creating chaos on the battlefield that their allies can exploit.
So a rogue is like a wild card in a party,
Yes.
capable of adapting to any situation, filling multiple roles, and always finding a way to contribute.
They're a constant reminder that sometimes the most effective solutions aren't the most obvious ones.
Right.
It's about thinking creatively, using your skills in unexpected ways, and always being ready to improvise.
Exactly. They embody the spirit of adaptability,
Yeah,
demonstrating that cunning and finesse can be just as effective as brute force.
absolutely.
They're a reminder that in the world of Pathfinder, as in life, sometimes it's the quiet ones, the ones who operate in the shadows,
Yeah,
who make the biggest impact.
it's true.
This has been an incredible journey through the world of rogues.
It-
We've uncovered their strengths, explored their nuances, and discovered the depth of their versatility.
Yeah.
What final words of wisdom would you offer to our listeners as they embark on your own adventures as masters of stealth and cunning?
Remember, playing a rogue is about embracing creativity and thinking outside the box.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to experiment with different skills, feats, and tactics.
Mhm.
Explore the possibilities. Find those synergies that make your character truly unique. And most importantly, have fun. The world of Pathfinder is yours to explore, and a rogue is the perfect class for those who crave adventure, a touch of mischief, and the thrill of defying expectations.
Well said. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive with us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of RPGs.